Welcome to the Chaos Show. I really looked forward having you in the show, and it took a while to get her, but the one topic we didn't cover is influencer marketing. All right? Yes. So maybe you explain very briefly who you are, what you do, so people understand.
All right, so my name is Yasmin Vantuykom. I'm the founder of eFluenz, which is an influencer marketing agency. We specialize in creating influencer marketing campaigns with creative solution with our own influencer database.
And so basically what you do is you look for influencers and you connect them to brands.
Yes.
B2B, B2C, does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. What we actually do is we try to find the perfect match between the brand and the influencer, because the influencer needs to trust in the values of the brand and vice versa.
Exactly. So what's influencer marketing for you? Let's very briefly, because we're right, so we can talk 3 hours about it.
Yes,
right?
I can talk a full day about it, but influencer marketing is actually, for me, it's a medium that is consumer to consumer. Mm-hmm. It's actually the influencer that will translate the values of the brands towards their own audience, an audience that they build themselves, an audience of friends, a community online.
Fans.
Friends, fans, followers, however you want to call them. Yeah. But those friends or followers, they follow that influencer because they trust that what he or she is saying is true. And
looking at the growth of your company, it is also you're on the growth track. It's a bit of a hype.
Yeah.
The question is, I think the most asked question for you, what's the ROI? Why should I do it? That kind of stuff. Maybe you should explain it a bit.
So when you will, for example, compare to other means of marketing, what is good for influencer marketing is that you can actually track all the results. You can track how many unique views you have. You can track the clicks to a website, but not only that, you can track everything which is action
So it's actually very clear ROI.
Yeah, everything is very clear.
Clearer than all the rest.
Yeah, we calculate actually an influencer media value. So you can really see like, okay, what was the cost that I put into it and what is the return on investment?
Yeah, it's very obvious for B2C. Right? Yeah. We all know the Instagram stars and I think it's very clear. But if we then would move to B2B and companies, things like LinkedIn, and I haven't seen too much of influencer marketing on LinkedIn. So I'm very curious, what's your opinion and how do you tackle that? And
for example, influencer marketing on B2B, what is very different compared to B2C and then indeed Instagram. Instagram is very emotionally driven and it has to be beautiful and everything video images. While B2B, LinkedIn, we call them actually opinion leaders and not influencers.
Of course, of course.
They will have a certain expertise in an industry or in a process or in something else, and they talk about it on a daily or regular basis. And then we link their story, for example, an entrepreneur, for example, why did you become an entrepreneur? And then we will link them to a certain brand.
If you want to be an influencer, what's the thing next to, of course, contacting you? But I mean, what would be the thing to do? Look for brands yourself, or just what would you recommend to do?
If you're an influencer, if you want to be an influencer, what is very important is that you stick to a certain niche where you believe in. Influencers that have lifestyle, travel, fashion, entrepreneurship, it's very difficult because a brand only wants to touch a certain audience. So influencer with a specific niche like sustainability will have much more success. And of course, continue being yourself, storytelling, and try to stand out in your niche. And for contacting brands yourself, of course, but then only brands that are, of course,
in
for
the
you
niche.
and not.
Do you then need a personal website, or is that not needed?
No.
It's a question I get a lot, by the way. That's why I'm asking you. So I'm asking her all the different questions I'm getting.
No, actually, it will depend. What is your niche? Is it then better to be on Instagram? Is it better to be on YouTube? Is it better to be on LinkedIn, for example? And then develop from there.
Give us some advice. Stuff you say, really, you gotta. When you're, let's go back to companies, because there's a lot of companies watching this and thinking, I wanna scale my software, I wanna scale my business, and I'm looking at these influencers, and maybe they can shortcut growth. Right? That's what we're talking about. Is there some advice you say? Okay, guys, you gotta look for that. You gotta do this.
You have to be really careful. When influencer marketing can work really well if you choose the right influencer. And not only look at the profile of the influencer, but also look at the audience of the influencer, because it's not because an influencer is a male living in Brussels that their audience will be of the same profile. So it's very important to do that check as well, and then to see what is the message that I want to convey through those influencers.
So what's the evolution, if I go back to what you're doing, right? What's the evolution? What's the next thing? So you have the brands, you have the influencers, you connect them.
Yeah.
So I think you have something missing. I'm guessing you're going to go there.
Yeah. So what we do next to the brands and the whole database that we have is, of course, the creative concept to match them together. But the creative concept is very difficult because to create content, to be always very creative. So how can we help influencers to be that the whole time?
Yeah.
So actually we're thinking we're going to set up a talent agency, which means that influencers can join us, not only the database, but further that we will train them, not only social media wise, but also video production.
I think it's because you at a certain stage will have more competition.
Yeah.
So here's my piece of advice. I think if you start adding that, it will become more interesting to work with you and not with somebody else.
Indeed.
And actually it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because the better they get, the more...
And the more they work with us, and the more they will work for a brand.
We do like revenue.
That's the whole purpose.
I think it was fantastic. Thanks for coming to the show. I know it was tough.
Thank you.
I'm really happy. I will keep track of what's happening in the description. We'll put something so people can subscribe. If you want to be an influencer, if you're a brand, of course, have a chat.
Yes, please.
And we see you. Big thanks
so
for coming
much.
to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.